This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. Tasmania's frontline emergency service workers have been given an easier path to seeking support for post-traumatic stress disorder. The state government has announced an Australian first in legislation to presume their work is the cause of PTSD, meaning claims will be much easier.
Paramedics, firefighters and police forming a united front. New reforms to help those who help us on a daily basis.
I can't express in words how beneficial this shift will be for us.
In an Australian first, the Tasmanian government will introduce legislation making it easier for public sector workers to claim compensation for post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, when workers make a claim, it will be presumed the trauma was caused through work, rather than having to prove it happened on the job.
When you're responding to people that look like someone that you knew or are the same age as your grandfather that passed away recently, that hurts in ways that you can't really quantify until you're hurt by it.
It may take many, many years for that PTSD to actually come out and manifest itself in a mental health issue. So it could be one major incident or it could be a cumulative effect over many years. But we want people to come forward and get the help that they need.
You will still need to put in a claim. There will still need to be a diagnosis for PTSD. But what this does, it sends a message that we support our community, we support our workers.
The long-awaited plan is due to come into effect shortly, today receiving unanimous support.
To not have to traverse the adversarial workers' compensation system that we have at the moment will make it better for them in terms of their recovery and obviously get back to work and do the job that many of them, most of them love.
Many people have either not submitted claims or have withdrawn claims or not pursued a claim that has been disputed because the level of stress and anxiety placed on that person is so great.
It's important that this step has been taken today because it is about resetting a culture where we don't stigmatise people with mental health issues.
There are already plans to extend the legislation to the private sector. Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
A new report into Tasmania's out-of-home care sector has reaffirmed the need for significant improvement to protect at-risk children. The Auditor-General's report said there were alarming situations in the sector, including poor staffing, recruitment and inadequate training and safety checks. The document showed controversial provider Safe Pathways was made to pay back $800,000 in funding. The minister questioned on why it took so long for the government to act. He said it was already making changes.
These initiatives will increase the capacity and effectiveness of our system, strengthen our responses and contribute to better outcomes for these vulnerable children and young people.
In the report, Safe Pathways said it made immediate improvements to ensure it had appropriate checks in place. The race is officially on for 28 council elections across the state. Campaign signs have been appearing over the last few weeks and today the full list of candidates was announced. A total of 481 people have put themselves forward to serve on councils, while more than 100 are vying for the 28 mayor positions.
We don't have compulsory voting in local government, but I really encourage everyone to take the opportunity to participate in council elections and have a say about who will be shaping your community in future.
Glenorchy is the only local government area not heading to a vote because elections were held there earlier this year. Postal ballot packs will be sent out in 2 weeks. A coronial inquest into the death of a man on Flinders Island in 2015 has stalled in a Launceston court. Robert Charles Mansell was fishing with a friend off rocks near Palana, where it's believed he was swept into the ocean. The inquest had been due to hear more evidence today, but was delayed after a lawyer representing a witness had to withdraw from the case. The matter is expected to resume tomorrow. Back home, Tasmania is being painted black and white and blue and gold in anticipation for the big game, while one Pies fan is praying for the right result after seeing 5 grand finals without a Collingwood win.
Michael Ibbott has felt his heart break 5 times at the G. He saw Daryl Baldock's Saints snatch victory in '66, Then the Lions do it twice more in the 2000s, before witnessing 2010's draw and 2011's loss. The dyed-in-the-wool supporter would give anything to be there for a win.
I think that'll sort of cap the membership off. Well, I've been a supporter for 60 years.
His die-hard mate will watch from this Collingwood chamber.
Especially as the way we've come from pretty much nowhere to make the grand final, to be playing so well and have a real good chance at it, it would probably be the most special one, I think.
With walls washed in black and white, this devoted display hasn't turned away too many customers. But only 2 Richmond fans have dared to enter Hobart's Albert Road store since Friday night.
They came in with their heads down.
Even from the air, you can't escape it.
The letters are 15 metres high, and it took a dedicated group of us 3 days.
And if you didn't get the message from up there, it's in your rear view mirror as well, while the final footy records have been delivered to balls and bumpers. If you want a Guernsey, you'd be a dummy not to get in quick.
Guernseys will definitely sell out by Friday.
While everything black and white has been walking out the door, the same can't be said for Eaglestock, and maybe for good reason. West Coast is one of only 4 clubs in the AFL without any Tasmanians on its list.
It hasn't stopped one fan buying up big to cover his pizza shop in royal blue and gold.
Put streamers up, some flags up. We've got a couple of towels that are going to go up and on the walls that we've got to represent. We're probably one of the only West Coast Eagles places in town.
A brief break from the most anxious week of a footy fan's life. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
A large-scale air and sea search has failed to find a whale entangled in rope off the state's east coast. Marine Conservation Program teams and police spent yesterday scouring the coastline between Binalong Bay and Freycinet National Park. Rescuers remain hopeful they will be able to locate the pair of southern right whales. Any sightings of the mammal should be reported immediately to the Whale Hotline. Tasmania is the subject of a new world record, with a Belgian bushwalker completing a 52-day trek across the state, unaided and without any resupplies. The 41-year-old says he wanted to push himself to the limit in the state's wilderness and nearly died doing so.
This is the relentless environment this Belgian adventurer has been immersed in over the last 52 days. The 41-year-old trekked from Penguin on the northwest coast to Cockle Creek in the far south, breaking a world record.
I did it for the challenge and the beauty. Perhaps it might be a bit insane.
Covering 550 kilometres through untouched and unforgiving terrain, the winter conditions so challenging he lost his head torch and at one point almost his life.
I'm gonna remove the water of my sinking boat. On the river, I got jammed. I nearly drowned in a boat accident where I lost my main camera.
If that wasn't hard enough, he did it unaided, with no resupplies at all. Setting off on August the 5th with this GPS tracker and a 62-kilogram pack. The trek took longer than expected, so the rations he'd carried had to be extended even further.
2 weeks, no breakfast, and supper was a glass of hot water with an aspirin or two to kill the pain and, you know, to have a little bit of energy. I kept just the remaining food for the energy during the day.
Tasmania can really throw you anything at any time, so going from, you know, relatively wet conditions to then being in freezing conditions.
Fellow adventurers say it's an incredible feat.
Your body's aching and you have to put on your frozen boots, pack up your tent in the rain and then carry your heavy backpack for a full day. It certainly is a challenge.
Louis describes his final days as like walking on sandpaper. He finished at Cockle Creek yesterday, 15 kilos lighter than when he started.
There's only tiny bits of intense joy when you're on the mountains.
This was his 11th world first expedition. It's no surprise he's been dubbed the Mad Belgian. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Safety upgrades around the Launceston General Hospital have been officially opened. The $500,000 project was started last year after concerns over potential accidents.
So we've therefore done a lot of work. We've put the lights in, as you can see in the background there. We've also fixed up the roundabout, improved a lot of the footpath and the surfaces, and generally improved the street as well.
Around 10,000 vehicles use this section of road each day. Tasmanian primary school students are being rewarded for creativity, winning their school a major art prize. Their teacher says the prize will enable budding artists to engage with other forms of art, and the students can't wait to get stuck in.
Getting their hands dirty and getting arty.
You just get to express yourself, and you can just be artistic and nobody can really judge you because it's still art.
These grade 5 and 6s from Margate Primary recently put their creative skills to good use, vying for the top gong in this year's Hadley School Prize, among the 300 students who visited Hobart's Hadley's exhibition to draw inspiration for their own work.
And then we came back and we talked about some of the techniques they used, and they applied that to create an artwork that was about their special place or something that they connect with.
I personally did a picture of a wave because I love the ocean.
This video, the final result, their hard work paying off, winning the prize and a voucher for supplies at an art store.
And it's creative and it uses parts of their brain that they don't use when they're using screens. It's really that simple.
Giving the students the opportunity to try their hand at something new and otherwise unavailable, such as working with clay or lino prints.
We're really excited about trying to give the kids an experience that they haven't had access to.
Hopefully we'll be able to do more art in class time and lots of other classes as well.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanian students have had their first step towards landing a job at an employment day hosted by the Rotary Club of Kings Meadows. Nearly 200 students met face-to-face with potential employers.
Last year we estimate that about 20% of the Year 11 and 12 students who participated gained work either directly as a result of the program or as a result of being contacted by, say, a group training company in the months afterwards.
38 businesses took part. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed flat, with the financial sector weighing on the market and offsetting strong gains from commodity-related stocks. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 1 point. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 72.49 US cents and 61.65 euro cents.
The Tasmanian Tigers are currently up against it in Sydney after losing a string of early wickets in their JLT One Day Cup match against New South Wales. The side was sitting at 3 for 58 a short time ago, following an impressive performance in the field. It was one of the Tigers' young cubs who drew first blood.
Got him! Caught second slip. Really well taken, and Meredith gets the early wicket.
The paceman stalling soon after as Blues opener Jack Edwards stepped on the gas.
Short, and that is just dispatched. He rocks onto the back foot over mid-wicket.
The 18-year-old needing just 36 balls to notch up his 50 before the Tigers' spin doctor struck.
Takes on the short boundary straight, but it's in the air, it's hanging, and it's been taken.
New recruit Aaron Summers quickly learning where not to pitch it to Curtis Patterson or to Moses Enriquez.
Shouts, catch it. It's gone all the way.
Jake Doran sending himself skyward in order to stem the damage.
Beautifully taken. Doran takes another catch, and that moved quickly.
Rose struggling to contain himself after claiming his second scalp of the day.
Gets a big wicket of Patterson.
Gurinder Sandhu storming in with a point to prove against his old side, sending Jay Lenton to the sheds on 7, followed by Daniel Sams just 2 overs later.
Oh, that's high in the air, should be taken. Sandhu gets his second wicket, and New South Wales are crumbling.
Jackson Bird then swooping in and rattling the cage with 2 quick wickets of his own, before Sandhu capped off a breakthrough innings for his new side, cleaning up the Blues' bottom order in a 4-wicket haul.
Brilliant catch again, this time from Clive Rose, his second catch. They've been wonderful in the field.
But hopes of another Matthew Wade slugfest were quickly shattered, with the Tigers' 239-run chase hitting a roadblock on the very first ball.
That is close to start with. Is it the perfect start? Yes, it is! Abbott with the wicket. Wade gone.
Big Bash fever swept across the state today with players from the Hobart Hurricanes women's side dispersed all over Tasmania for the club's annual community blitz. Players and coaches will spend the next 3 days visiting more than 4,000 students in over 800 schools in the south, north and northwest of the state. The women's Big Bash season begins on December 1 against the Perth Scorchers. More than a year since badly fracturing his ankle, Launceston marathon runner Josh Harris is slowly making a return to the competition. Buoyed by a short 5-kilometre win on the weekend, Harris still has his sights on reaching the top.
Cycling might not be where Josh Harris saw himself a year ago, but for the 28-year-old, it's the path back to the marathon track. This was the highlight of Harris's career last year, training just before the IAAF Championships in Switzerland. But in an instant, it was all over.
I was on I think it was a 30k training run, and about 3k's in, I had one really bad step and my foot just was in a whole heap of pain.
This was the damage, a fractured talus bone. Harris still ran on it, but couldn't get to the end. Afterwards, specialists doubted whether he would be able to compete again.
Surgery was in January. I couldn't do anything for about a month. Then I was limited to pull work only for probably about 3 months.
Cycling is now part of the training, and on Sunday it all paid off, with Harris making his post-injury debut at the Launceston Marathon. Just taking baby steps in the 5k run, but still clearing a comfortable win.
I was really happy to get the win. It was good fun, and I kind of got a little bit competitive as I was out there, and probably pushed a little bit faster than I expected to, but it was a really great feeling being in front coming into the last kilometre.
He's hoping success comes with patience.
That's the goal. I've still got unfinished business there. I'd love to represent Australia in the marathon at the Olympics. But it's going to be a while before I can run 42k.
Sean McComish, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. Patchy cloud over a large area of the state today, but fine and sunny weather over the central and north. Launceston topped the state with 16 degrees, Hobart, Burnie and Devonport all 13. A light shower observed around the coasts today, but nothing of note. Fool's Ridge had 1 millimetre. Friendly Beaches 15 degrees, Smithton and Low Head 14, St Helens, Ouse, Strawn and the Islands 13 degrees, Lyawini the low of -3, much warmer than they had yesterday. Now here's a look from above, and the open cellular cloud moved across the state today. A little bit to the north, blowing over the Bass Strait as well, with low cloud also affecting Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland along the coast and ranges. A trough produced cloud further west, and a cold front is near the southwest of WA. Tomorrow, Tasmania remains under a high pressure system, while several surface troughs sit over the mainland. The cold front heads for the bite. Variable winds mostly, and quite light as well tomorrow, northeasterlies to 20 knots over northern waters, with an increase expected all round later in the day. Strong wind warning has been issued for waters between Sandy Cape and Stanley, a frost warning for parts of the Upper Derwent Valley as well. Hobart, a cool start tomorrow, 3 overnight, a top of 16 and partly cloudy for Geeveston and partly cloudy for Bothwell, both on 16 as well. Partly cloudy for Launceston, 15 the high, 14 the top, with Devonport expecting a light shower, possibly, and 14 the high for Cressy. Burnie, a light shower, 14 the top, 16 for Strawn, mostly sunny in the west, a late shower though for Curry on King Island and 14 degrees. St Helens partly cloudy, 14, 15 for Swansea and Orford. On Thursday, showers over the west, increasing in the afternoon. A few showers over the south as well, with northwesterlies picking up. Showers for the west, far south and Bass Strait Islands on Friday, with snow to 500 metres in the west. And on Saturday, partly cloudy for most of us, a shower or two in the west and on King Island. Fine and mostly sunny in Perth and Adelaide tomorrow, with temperatures into the 20s. Sunny weather in Melbourne, a shower forecast for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. And the current conditions are cloudy, mostly or partly. Hobart and Devonport 9 degrees, and currently, Joe, in Launceston it's 10.
OK, thank you very much for that, Murph. That's all from the team for now. Thanks so much for your company. Murph and I will see you a little later.